Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Juan Cristales. I'm a full-time real estate investor in the greater Houston market. Over the last 5 years, I've been building new construction, ground up, single-family homes, and I've done duplexes. And now that's what I'm trying to teach people is how to build your very first ground up duplex. It's not as hard as people think it is. So for the last 8 to 9 years, I've done over 200 houses, and I'm telling you that I think I'm pretty much done with all of that. What I'm going to show you in this video is how to get started in the process of building new construction ground up, even if you don't have a ton of money in the bank, even if you don't have exceptional credit like a lot of people think that they need to have. So let's sit down and talk to Josh Wells from Rainy City Capital. All right. So, hey, what's going on, guys? We got Juan Cristales here and we got Josh Wells. We're going to be talking about ground up construction, new construction, short-term lending. I know that some of you guys call it hard money lending. It's the same thing. We're talking about loans that you can get to do new construction. So I brought in Josh because he's got, a lot of experience. He's got, you said you had 80 projects going on in Ohio right now, man. That's pretty awesome, dude. So tell us real quickly a little bit about yourself, about your company, and what you're specializing in.
Yeah, so my company's been around for 10 years. I'm just a loan officer here. I've been a hard money lender myself for just over 2 years now. Before that, I built a house with my dad from the ground up when I was like 6 years old, been a flipper for most of that as well with him. So I have ground up experience, learned very quickly how to real estate invest when I was younger, flip houses. But
Cool.
ground up has really been something that I've been hammering down on. Yeah, I do have a client he's looking at putting in between 60 to 80 new ground up construction units in Ohio next year. And he's going to be using us for financing for all of it. So that's a little bit about me and
That's
the
awesome,
company.
man. That's awesome. Congrats, dude. So, man, one of the things that I wanted to touch on, I almost forgot here because we were going to start doing the recording. I was like, oh, hold on, let me get this on video here. But I think one of the limiting beliefs that a lot of people have is that they don't have the money to be able to go ahead and get this process started. And one of the things that I'm always looking to explain to people is that our creativity is really the limiting belief. But another thing is that we don't know the options that are out there. So I think that one of the cool options that you were talking about just recently is really someone that has good credit and they're able to get a line of credit and show that in a bank account before closing, and that you can use that amount of money that they've borrowed essentially to help them kind of just get started on the process. Now, we may need to bring in a partner who's done a deal before, who's done a new construction ground up deal before. You may need to do that. And that's just part of the business, right? Because when you're first starting, everyone's a little bit concerned because you are green and it's your first time. So tell us a little bit about that program that you got there, man.
Yeah, so I have a buddy. He runs a company where he basically works with angel investors and gives them business lines of credit. So as long as someone has good credit, an LLC, and a business plan or a pitch deck, he gets them funded, gets them anywhere from zero to over $1 million worth of capital in a business line of credit. And then we at Rain City Capital, which is the company that I work for, we take that entire business line of credit. As long as they show that they have access to it or have it liquidated and put into a bank account, we can use that entire business line of credit. We can use Roth IRA, 401k, anything that you think that you have finances in that can be easily liquidated, can be turned into a business line of credit or liquidated and used to actually fund your ground up construction deal.
Very cool, man, because even a Roth IRA, so that's awesome. Because I know some people have W-2 jobs, they've been working for a long time and they've got a lot of money saved in those. They don't really realize that they can leverage that money that is technically theirs, right? Because it does
Yep.
belong to them. Leverage that to get started on a new construction project like this. So very, very cool, very creative. I like it. So I guess tell us a little bit about how the program works. So someone finds a piece of land and they're going to build a duplex on it. And so, we put it under contract, we give the earnest money, we've identified that it meets all the requirements during our due diligence period. And then I'm calling Josh. I'm like, hey, bro, I need to get qualified for a loan so I can do this new construction project. Walk me through that process then.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things we do is we check credit and background. If you don't have good enough credit score, I do have people that I know that are good credit partners that you can pay a fee to. Usually it's percent of the earnings at the end of it. flat fee, whatever it might be. And so they'll come in as a credit partner. You can use their credit as well. So that's just only for people that have below 660 credit score. We do the same thing if they don't have a deal. We need to make sure that they have at least one ground up construction deal or bring in a partner that has that. Those are the two really key things that we look forward when we're pre-qualifying and pre-underwriting. Yeah,
Okay, so that's a very exciting point that I think is going to help dispel a lot of these issues with people. And I want to bring that up, man, because I think it's so valuable there. You can bring someone else in that has good credit, and you, with them, you negotiate how much of a split they might be able to take on the back end, or maybe it's just a fee or something that you can
yep,
talk to them about. And you can use their good credit, their 800 shiny, beautiful, nice looking credit for your loan.
yep,
And that will qualify you. Even I may have, even though I might have some, terrible, 500 credit scores, 600 credit score, whatever that may be, just to get in the door to be able to do a new construction project. That's awesome, dude. That's very,
yeah.
very cool. And then, like we just talked about, also bringing in someone else who has at least one ground up construction, have them be, did you say, did they need to be a co-signer on the deal, or what is the relationship there?
They do Yeah, they do have to be a co-signer on it. The person with good credit and the person who has experience both have to co-sign with someone who doesn't have good credit or someone who doesn't have the experience. If you have the experience and you don't have good credit, just one of them's good. We just need to see good credit above 660. Doesn't even have to be like super great credit.
Yeah.
We work with everything from 660 upwards, or someone that has at least one ground up construction. Those are the two main things that we see and that we want to see when we're looking at a ground up deal.
Okay.
Then we, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead, continue. And
Okay.
then what are the points? What are the interest
Yeah.
rates that you have to pay?
Yeah. So the points range from 1.5 to two. Sometimes we'll go as high as three, depending on if it's a really risky deal or not. But for the most part, we're sitting at a two. And then for interest rates, we're seeing anywhere from 10 to 12.5% interest rate. And then those are bought down. The interest rates are bought down the more points you have or the more experience. So if you've done 10 ground up deals in the last 3 years, you're likely going to see a 10.5 rate. If you've done more than 20, we'll buy it down for you even more. So the
Okay.
more that you show as a borrower that you have experience, the lower your rate and points are going to be.
So awesome. So what you're saying is that if I can start with you and I can show the proof that I'm continuing to do deals with you over the course of
Yep.
time, my cost to borrow money goes down.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
That's
very, very
correct.
cool. Awesome. Okay, so one of the other things I want to touch on here is red flags. What are some immediate red flags that you get from potential borrowers that they need to address before they come to you, just so that we're not wasting people's time and people just kind
Yeah.
of understand. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, we've run a background check and a credit check. If they've defaulted more than 3 times on the loans that they currently have, let's say it's a car payment, a mortgage payment, whatever, if they've defaulted 3 times in the last year, that is something that we typically look at. We don't like delinquent, we don't like late payments, we really don't like defaulted loans. Those are three things that we look at on the credit side of things. And then background check, are there violent crimes? Is there a felony? Okay, what's the felony like? We do work with some types of felons, but really nothing that's like violent crimes or sex crimes. So those are really the red flags that we look at. Everything
Okay.
else is pretty good to go.
Okay, very good. And so one of the things that I think people don't like to hear, and I heard this a long time ago by Dave Ramsey. He's the personal finance guru guy, but he says that like a credit score is a character score, and people don't like to hear that. Because if you're the kind of person that borrows money and gives your word that you're going to pay it back, and then you don't, it speaks
Yeah,
about your character and the kind of person you are. And it's unfortunate, but I think that for the most part, the people that are in this area, in this industry here, they understand that, we're looking to level up our finances. We're looking to level up our knowledge. We're looking to level up ourselves just completely. And part of that is, working on your credit score, making sure that that stuff gets taken care of. Sometimes people get, issues, fraudulent stuff that's out there. We understand that kind of stuff, and we're working on it, taking care of it, make sure that that gets off of our credit, whatever the case might be. But if you're genuinely the type of person that borrows money and doesn't pay it back, then it's going to be a tough road moving forward. regardless of whether it's with houses, cars, whatever, what have you. Okay, cool, man. The last thing that I was going to ask you is what during the actual process. Okay, so like we went ahead and closed on the lot. We've got it, the whole process started. We've got, the soil samples. We got the engineered slab. We got all the permits. We're starting to pour the slab. Now we've spent a good portion of the money that, we're going into. How does it work then after that? How do you guys typically structure your construction draws, inspections, and those types of things?
Yeah, so we're changing our guidelines right now. So unfortunately, I can't give like a hard answer, but we typically do it in three stages. There will be three different draws that you can do. Our draw process typically takes maybe 3 days max. We really like to move fast on the draw process for reimbursement. And so we'll get an inspection out there as soon as you say, "Hey, come take a look at this. I'm ready for my reimbursement so I can move on to the next phase of construction." We'll get someone out there typically within 3 days. Our underwriting team will look over it and then we'll get you wired the funds. Um, Now, if you're a little bit confused on, hey, is this ready for the next phase? I would say probably don't reach out to us yet because we do charge a $200 fee each time that we have to send an inspector out there, just because some of the inspectors are a little bit pricey. So we'll try and cover it as much as possible, but there is a fee that we have to.
Yeah. But the good thing about it though is that you have experience and
Exactly.
bro, I know you're calling for it, but I would probably just wait a little bit longer or whatever the case is, just to kind of save you the trip, save you the money. That way we're
Exactly.
not running into issues, But or maybe we can do, hey, look, since you have like the framing is, for example, is a big one, right? And like if you
Hmm.
need the money, like okay, maybe, and I don't know if you guys do this, but like maybe a percentage of it is finished or something like that before it's a full 100% on that. I don't know. Is that something you guys are open to doing? Like saying 50% of the framing could be
I,
uh, distributed?
I can check on that and get back to you. The guidelines are still pretty fluid for the most part. So right now I know that we have to have the full framing done, but we're looking to make those more competitive on the guidelines that we have. So there's a possibility in the near future that it could just be, a fraction of
Yeah.
the framing is done.
And
And then
for
we move
everybody
on to the
else out
next
there,
stage.
yeah, and for everybody else listening, one of the things that I think is important and key for you to understand as well is that you are going to have to pay the labor for some of the stuff. But like one of the things that I tell the framers or anybody else is like, look, until this is passed inspection, I can't give you the entire thing. Like I have to hold something back because if there's any inspectionable items that need to be fixed, the walls bowing out or like we need more studs in a certain area, like you're gonna have to come back and fix those things before I fully release the money. So we're always holding back some money from the contractors until we've gotten the green light across the board from the lender, from the city inspectors, from everybody, ensuring that, okay, now we can move on to the next phase. Here, we'll close it out and pay you off. Do you guys require release of liens from subcontractors?
Uh, I don't know if we do. I would have to get back to you on that. That's not
Okay,
something that I've seen on our guidelines. But
okay,
again, they're changing, so we might. Um, but it's not something that I can give you a firm yes or no
okay.
on.
Yeah,
There's
so
a lot.
I've dealt with some hard money lenders that do require the subcontractors to fill out releases of liens once the money's been given to the borrower. So, like me
Yeah,
as the builder, before they will give me the money, my subcontractor has to sign a release of lien, or they'll make me sign a release of lien basically for the amount of money that they've given me. So, okay, very cool, man. So, I guess give us your contact information, man, where people can find you, what
yeah,
email address they can email you to if they have more questions, and maybe the place where they can fill out an application if they wanted to get pre-approved for a loan for new construction.
yeah, absolutely. So my email is joshw@raincitycapital.com, RAINCITY capital.com. My phone number, I'm available pretty much 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, any time zone. If you're on the US time, I'm up in the morning super early, work EST all the way to Alaskan and Hawaiian time. And my phone number is going to be 916-838-1228.
Cool, man. I want to put your contact information on there, man. If you want to add anything else, a website or something like that, we'll put that on there. Appreciate your time, Josh. Thanks so much, man. And we're gonna finish it off there. Thank you.